Hello world, it's Luann. Welcome to my kitchen. So I thought today we'd make lemon chiffon pie. I'm making that for Sunday after church dinner. I hope you're going to church on Sunday and that you're having a good dinner after. So lemon chiffon pie is a great pie to make in the summertime. Hello Donna! I'm making lemon chiffon pie. It's a great pie to make in the summertime because you don't have to use your oven. Now I do make the crust and use the oven for about 5 minutes, but you don't have to even do that. You can buy the store-bought graham cracker crust that's already made. I don't really like to do that as well though, because to me they're a little dry and sometimes they're hard as a rock. So I really prefer to make my own graham cracker crust. So that's what I'm doing. And you don't even have to bake that in the oven. You can just mix it and be done. But it will kind of intensify the sweetness of it a little bit, intensify the flavor if you put it in the oven for just about 6 minutes. So I am going to do that. But you do have the option, if you want no oven, you can make lemon chiffon pie with creating no heat at all. That'd be really great if you're sitting in a hotel and you want some pie. You don't need the oven. Or you do need a refrigerator. Now this has also been known as icebox pie, icebox lemon pie. Most people don't know what an icebox is anymore. If you've ever watched The Honeymooners, they have in their little kitchen, they have an icebox. It used to be a box that they put a big block of ice in. That was their refrigerator. Luckily we don't do that anymore because it didn't last very long and they had to keep getting ice. My grandfather actually used to deliver ice in Fort Myers when he was newly married and his kids were little. He farmed, but he also delivered ice on an ice route for extra money. But now we have, of course, our electric refrigerators. And I find this works best if you put it in the freezer, because it doesn't get completely frozen solid to where you can't cut it or eat it, but it gets really cold. And it is so good on a hot summer day. And I like to keep it in the freezer and then cut it and let it sit out maybe 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how hot it is, until it gets just a little thawed, and then eat it. And it's to me not quite cold enough straight from the refrigerator. I like it colder because it also gets firmer. Now there's a few things I've done with this recipe to make it different. The original recipe calls for Cool Whip. I don't really especially care for Cool Whip. It has hydrogenated oil in it, and I don't like it as well. So you can make this with real whipped cream, but what you have to do is make the real whipped cream. But it's actually really easy to make real whipped cream. So first though, I'm going to make the crust. And so I'm going to pull this down. And I'm going to flip it around where you can see. There's stuff. See, there's my pen. Making crust. Here's the crust I'm going to make. So what I have here is 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Let me see. I'm going to get what I have in here for utensils. I meant to get all this out, but you know I never remember everything. I always forget something. Okay, here I've got this. And a spoon. I need a spoon. So I've got my 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and I have 3 tablespoons of sugar and 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs. Now you can buy the graham crackers and put them through a food processor and crumb it yourself, but you know what? That takes more work and it makes more mess because you have to use a food processor, or you can put them in a Ziploc bag and smash them with a hammer if you want to get out some aggression too. But you have to be careful you don't smash through the plastic of the bag. I like to use the ones that are already crumbs, so you can buy them in the store in the baking aisle, just like this, already smashed up. That way they're all evenly done. But you can certainly use the graham crackers that are the crackers and make them into crumbs. That's what they used to do before you could buy them like that in the store. Then you mix it up really well. Then you can put it in your pie pan. I usually take the pie pan and spray it with like non-stick cooking spray, or you can butter it. My non-stick cooking spray is about out. You don't have to do anything. It just helps it not stick so much. Then we're going to take our nice pie plate. I love these glass pie plates. Nice, heavy. It makes it look so nice and homemade. But it is a lot less work if you just want to buy the pre-made crust. Comes in the little aluminum pie pan. It's a lot faster. But as you see, this doesn't take real long. Then you just kind of spread it out. I just think this tastes so much better. Mix it up. It didn't want to mix my sugar real well, I see. That's okay, we can mix it now. It'll still taste the same. You get it mixed around. Spread it out. Then I like to take like a little measuring cup like this and press it down. Look, see, it works really well. And then press it against the sides. Just press it. It's a perfect little presser, this little thing. Now, if you want to not bake this, you can take this and put it in the refrigerator or freezer, and it will, the butter in it will then harden and it will set, and you don't have to cook it. I just think it makes it a little crunchier and a little more intensified in flavor if you bake it for 6 minutes. It says 6 to 8 minutes, and I usually do about 6. Don't want to overdo it either. Don't want to burn it. I got it a little thick on this side, so I can fix that. Now, it will make it a little crunchier if you bake it, but not as bad as the store-bought ones. I have sometimes bought those store-bought ones. You can't even hardly cut them because they're so dry or something. Oop. Was good till I smashed that edge. Let's see, you can make it so pretty. Looks just perfect. Okay, so I've got my oven on 375. And then I'm going to put it in there for 6 minutes and bake. Alright, there we go. 6 minute timer. Now I'm going to make the filling. Now, to make the filling, the first thing I do is make the whipped cream. This is what you do if you're not using Cool Whip, which I prefer not to use. So I've got my little whisk type beater, and I'm going to put that on. Doesn't want to go. There we go. Come on, baby. Oh, there was something that fell in there. Okay, so then I have to get, I had to look this up to find out. This is heavy whipping cream. To get the right amount as a 8-ounce tub of Cool Whip, I looked up how much Cool Whip is in that. It's 3 cups. So to get 3 cups of whipping cream, it's going to double in volume. So you need 1.5 cups of the liquid. So you start out with 1.5 cups of liquid, heavy whipping cream, and you put that in your mixer. I already poured off 1/2 cup of this because this is normally 2 cups. I poured off 1/2 cup to be the right amount. I kept that in the refrigerator. Then you're going to raise this up, depending on what kind of mixer you have. I need to pull this forward, that's the problem. There we go. Oh, Your Fear is a Liar song is on. I love that song. I'm going to turn that on and let it beat for a minute. Turn it off, and I'm going to add in some powdered sugar. Now, you add, if you're using 1 cup of whipping cream, you add 1/4 cup of sugar, powdered sugar, to get it about an average sweetness. So if you're using 1.5 cups of whipping cream, you need 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup. So what that is 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons, or is 8 tablespoons. See, I math my way through cooking. I can't do math with any other thing. I don't care about it. But when you get cooking, I can math it right all through my head. Isn't that funny? Okay, so it's 8 tablespoons of that. And you mix that into your 1.5 cups of whipping cream. In volume. Okay, we're not done yet, but I have one more ingredient to add to this. Now, if you've ever made homemade whipped cream, you know that it doesn't stay very long. It separates, and if you try to keep it overnight, you end up with watered down, soggy looking white foam. It does not stay whipped very well. Well, I have found the secret to stabilize whipped cream. Do you know there's a secret to stabilize whipped cream? Do you know what the secret is? There's a secret. All right, they do make this one ingredient that you can buy called something. I forget what it's called. That you can buy something to put in it. Like it's a powdered, but I've never tried that one. But I got an Amish cookbook one time from the library. I got all kind of cookbooks from the library. Then if I really, really loved them, then I bought them. Well, this Amish cookbook said the secret to stabilizing whipped cream, and it's upside down because it's almost empty, is this. Light corn syrup. Light corn syrup will bind with it and keep it from separating. Now, it sometimes will separate a tiny little bit if you keep it like just in a bowl in the refrigerator. But mixing it in ingredients, this keeps whipped cream from separating, keeps it stabilized. So what you need is about a teaspoon per cup of whipped cream. So since I have a cup and a half, I need a teaspoon and a half. And you know what? I'm going to guess. Say like that and that. It's just not a whole lot. A couple of squirts in there. And light corn syrup. I do not know exactly why that works, but it does. You don't need much of it. Then I'm going to re-whip till it gets real light and fluffy. Looks like we're almost there. Okay, now I like this whipped pretty firm since I'm putting it in a recipe. I don't want it real soft. I want it, all right, see right there? That's kind of a stiff peak for whipping cream. Holds its shape, and you don't want to overdo it or you get butter. But that's pretty good right there. It also will keep its shape better if you've whipped it pretty firm. If you whip it soft, you got to use it up a lot faster. Okay, so now what I do with this is I'm going to mix it in later. So what I'm doing with it right now, here, let's just do that. Is I'm going to put it in that bowl. Ooh. Because I'm going to use this mixer to mix the other ingredients, then I'm going to fold this in. So all we do, oh, we're beeping because we are done cooking that crust. It's been 6 minutes, and it can go for 8, so it can sit there for a minute while I finish this. Whipped cream, oh yeah. Just eat that with a spoon, look at that. Okay, so now I don't even have to clean this bowl because it's gonna have that whipped cream put back in a while, so you just put it right back on there and use it as is. So I'm going to put that whipped cream aside. I'm going to get out my crust. Turn off this oven so there'll be no more oven. Ooh. Here he is from the oven. See, he has just very slightly browned edges, just very slight. I'm going to set it over there to cool a little bit. Then I'm going to get this other beater. Now, if you have one of these mixers, a KitchenAid, that's what this is a KitchenAid. This is like a big size one, because sometimes I make 2 and 3 recipes of cakes at once. You want this. This, unless they've changed, they don't come with it. This is not even that company. It's, I've had this for so long. What's it called? www.beaterblade.com. That's where I got this. So what this is, it's got silicone edges. See, they are soft and rubbery, and it will scrape the bowl as you go, and it will also go down to the very bottom, so you don't end up with the bottom that never got mixed. That's one of the things I hate about these mixers, is they never mix the bottom. Well, this silicone edge will. It'll scrape the edge and scrape the bottom for you, and you don't have to do it. It's wonderful. Okay, so then I'm going to mix in the ingredients. I've got some softened cream cheese. Now this is supposed to be 3 ounces. And I thought I had more. Nope, I got 2 ounces. So guess what? We're making it with 2 ounces today, and I think it's going to be fine. So I'm going to put this up. It better be fine. It's all I got. Because I'm not running to the store at night. Okay, so I beat that softened cream cheese a little bit. Then I'm going to put in some lemon juice. And here's my measuring cup. Okay, I need half a cup of lemon juice. And this is my favorite thing to use for lemon juice. You can get this at, like, Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm going to take my lemon. All my knives are in the dishwasher. They're clean, but they're not out. Okay, so I'm going to cut it half. I also cut off these little knobs because they don't squeeze very well in that squeezer. Pick up one, put it in here, and squeeze. And you just keep doing this till you get half a cup. And so you don't get the seeds or anything with this squeezer. It's really great. And let me tip it down. There we go. It's all squeeze, and you just gotta have a good grip and squeeze. Okay, let's see how much we got. That's about a 1/4 cup, so that's about half of what we need. So let's do it again. Cut off the end. Okay. Another one. I just think this is like the fastest way to do it. Look how fast it comes out. Ooh, and I'm shooting it across the counter. You gotta watch that. Oh, it smells so good. I love the smell of lemons being squeezed. See how that's where this would go? And if it's got a knob on there, it likes to kind of make your lemon flip. And so if you cut that knob off, it won't make your lemon turn on you in here. And you just keep squeezing. See how much we got now. That's not quite half a cup, so I've got one more. This one doesn't really even have a knobby. So it takes 2 to 3 lemons for this pie. You can also make this pie, if you don't want to make it in a traditional pie shape, you can make it in like a sheet cake pan, you know, like the 9x13 pan. But what you would do is you would need to double the crust recipe. And you can either double the filling, or if you want the filling to just be thinner and make like bars, you don't have to double the filling. Let's see if I got half a cup yet. I got a little sneaky skinny seed that snuck in there. Look at that little stinker. Yep, he snuck in, but I got him. Okay. That's about half a cup. There he is. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm going to pour that in. Cream cheese. And then I'm going to mix it some more. It's going to be real sloshy, so you got to be careful. Okay. Then I'm going to put in here 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. This is the Eagle brand one. You don't have to use the brand name. You can use the store-bought, or the store brand. And it will, I think it will taste the same. The only reason I like to buy this is they have a pop top now. Look at that. This stuff, when you open it with your traditional can opener, it likes to goo all over it. And then you got a sticky can opener to clean. So I would so much rather have that pop top. So much. Then, we're just going to pour that in. Look, you can let him sit there. You can balance it. And you don't have to stand there and hold it. I like to do that with this mixer. Pop in my hand with my Onan squeezer. Okay, there we go. Oops. Dropping pieces on the floor. Now, this pie is cooled a little bit, so I'm going to take this crust, now it's cooled a little bit, and I'm actually going to stick it in the freezer. You don't want to do that straight from the oven, because it'll crack if it's too hot. But I'm going to put it in the freezer to set, and also because you don't want to put this filling in a hot pie shell. So then once that's drained quite a bit, and get a spoon, take the rest of it out. Oh, it did pretty well. This is some sticky stuff. This is like my mom's, some of her favorite pie. She loves lemon pie. I always want lemon pie. Since it's summer, it's perfect for this pie. Okay, now we're gonna mix some more. Okay, now this still has a little lumps in it from that cream cheese. So I'm going to try to get those out. I'm going to put this one back on. See if I can't get it to beat some of those lumps out of there. Thing that scrapes it, but when you use it with this cream cheese, it just loves to be lumpy. Here we go. So I'll make sure you can see what we're doing. Yep, okay. So then what I'm going to do with this is, since I've got this whipped cream made, you don't want to deflate it because it's full of air. So what you're going to do is you're going to put about a half of it in. Doesn't have to be exact. Half, a third, you know, something like that. What you're kind of doing is sacrificing this first batch a little bit. So then you take it and you're going to kind of mix it a little bit. This will lighten up the mixture that you have in there so it's not so heavy. Because it's pretty thick and heavy at first until you get this whipped cream in. So then I'm putting some in to lighten up this mixture. Okay, so there I got that. So now it's not so heavy to put the rest in. So then I'm going to take the rest of the whipped cream and you're going to put that in and you want to fold it. Folding is real easy. Looks just exactly like what it sounds like. So here's what you do. Make sure you can see. Yep. You take and you cut through it and go and fold over. See? Cut through the middle, fold over. And you just kind of keep going around. See how you cut through it and fold it over. Cut through it, fold it over. This way you're not deflating it, and you kind of need to turn the bowl. This only has a handle on one side, but you know, that's okay. Turn it, fold. See, turn and fold, turn and fold. And this will keep it real fluffy. You want to pull up from the bottom. See, pull up from the bottom and fold it over. Pull up from the bottom and fold it over. You just keep doing that till it looks like it's all mixed. And see, it's real light and creamy. And then we're done with that. Let me go check the crust and see if it's cool enough yet. Because it hasn't been in that freezer very long. It's getting there. So tomorrow, for lunch, we're having stew. Homemade stew. Lemon, and we're going to have my grandmother's recipe for skillet cornbread. I'm going to make that tomorrow because it's better hot. And then we're going to have this pie. Now, when I pour this in the crust, then what I do is I just put it in the freezer, cover it with plastic wrap, put it in the freezer, and you can serve it straight from the freezer. Like I say, it's better if you let it cut you a piece and let that piece thaw for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's like just perfect. Now let me show you what I have over here. Look at this. Oh, those are peaches. Hello, Arzetta. Those peaches I just got yesterday, I think. My brother just went to North Carolina on vacation. And going to North Carolina, he drives through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. On his way back, he does this every year. On his way back, he stops, I think it's one in Georgia. So I think these are Georgia peaches. Is that what they say on them? Yeah, these are Georgia peaches. Okay, so they say Lane, Georgia, USA. Okay, so he stops at this Lane in Georgia. They have an orchard, and he buys them fresh from the orchard at this place. He goes every year to this place, and they are the best peaches. They're not like the peaches you buy here in the store. Sadly, they're not. Even if they were that brand, I think they, you know, they aren't as fresh and ripe when they pick them as they are when you go right to this orchard. And he buys them straight from Georgia, and it's peach time. And I've been eating these peaches. I like to eat a peach a day or something. Oh, they're so good. The thing is, they all kind of get ripe at once, though, and then you can't eat them all in one day. But I wish I could. Okay, so I'm going to get this. This is pretty well cool for being in the freezer. There's our pie crust. Oh, yeah. And our filling. This is a real thick filling. And I just pour it in. Doesn't have a lot of color to it because of the whipped cream you put in it, but, you know, don't care. It's still going to taste. It's going to be real lemony. Even though it only has a half a cup of lemon juice in there, it is real lemony. And it is so cool and refreshing. Even though we have air conditioning now in Florida, when it's hot outside, you still want something cool to eat. This is just perfect. Did you know that when I was young, and before then as well, that people lived in Florida with no air conditioning? Did you know that? Yes, we did. And we lived to tell about it. I'm not sure how. They used to build houses in Florida with a lot of high ceilings so the heat would raise up. Then they had a lot of transoms over the doors, which is basically like a little window over the door. And they would open up all of the windows, which you had big windows and doors. I guess they didn't mind the bugs. I don't know. Sometimes at some point they must have had screens. I don't know when those came in. But they would let the breezes blow through. You would still have a real hot part of the day. But the house I grew up in, we really only had air conditioner wall units, window units, in the bedrooms. And eventually, when I was a little older, we got a real big wall unit in the living room. So it wasn't too bad. But when we were young, we only had them in the bedrooms. After dinner, we'd all head for the bedrooms. We'd all go into our own bedroom. Oh, why don't you all come out in the living room, kids? We're hot, Dad. So, eventually he got the window unit for the living room, too. A real big one he got. Cooled pretty well. Well, we didn't have central heat and air in that house I grew up in, which was okay. But did you also know in Florida, and this is hard for me to believe that it happened, because this was after air conditioning was invented, but we didn't have it in school. I went to elementary school. I went to the same elementary school my dad did. I went to both elementary school and middle school with no air conditioning, and I lived to tell about it. Yes, I did. I'm going to flip this around. The only place in school that had air conditioning was the library. And guess what? We all loved the library. But in elementary school, they eventually had, well, you had to kind of put air conditioning in the library or the books deteriorated. They got musty and moldy, mildewy. But yeah, that was a great way to get the kids to go to the library. I'll be quite honest with you. We all said, you kids want to go to the library? Yes! Yeah, we did. We wanted the air condition. Well, that's okay. Hello, Kelly. So, elementary school, I went to elementary school in the 60s. Even though there was such a thing as air conditioning, we didn't have it here. And in Southwest Florida, yeah, no air conditioning. And then middle school, I went to middle school. Again, the library was air conditioning, so we loved to go to the library. But no air conditioning in the classrooms. We'd have the doors open, the windows open. We were just used to being hot. Finally, when I went to high school, it was only because I went to a high school that was newer. It was only about 4 years old, I think, when I went to it. So it actually had air conditioning. And do you know, they really did a bad job with that, though. I don't know, did we not know how to do air conditioning here in Florida? I don't know what the problem was, but they had it so cold in there, so cold, that we were all hurting. We had teachers bringing in space heaters in May. We had, one year, one of my teachers got so mad because she couldn't hold on to a pencil because her hand was so frozen. She told everybody, pick up your chair. We went outside in the yard in high school to do our lessons that day. We sat in a circle. We were all thrilled. We were so cold that we sat out in the direct sun in the afternoon in Florida and did not care because we were so cold. And we would wear our winter coats in school. Winter coats. Because and we would complain and complain, and the teachers would complain, how come you can't get it adjust the air? And they said, well, the lunchroom will be hot, and where the cafeteria is, the people in there cooking will be hot, and we don't want them to be hot, so we have to have everybody else cold. And I guess they could not fix that. I don't know if it hadn't been installed very well or laid out very well or whatever. So we finally got our air conditioning in high school, and we froze. It was hilarious to see the people that would come to pick up their kids, because my mother, until I got old enough to drive, my mother would pick me up, and then when I was old enough to drive, I just had a car to drive. But it would be so hilarious to see all of these kids coming out of school in May with winter coats on, and as soon as you walk out the door, you had to peel that off. So you see people just stripping off of sweaters and coats and everything. Like, why? My mom would say, why are you taking your winter coat to school? It's not winter. I'm like, Mom, it's so cold. It's so cold in there. And it was. I don't know how cold it was, and it felt like 40 degrees. But everybody was getting headaches. Everybody was so cold. But it still was an improvement over the no air conditioning. But even the home I was in, not the one I grew up in, we moved there when I was about 6. But before that, even that house only had air conditioner in the bedroom. They had it in the wall unit because these houses had not been built with air conditioning. And to go back later and put air conditioning in it was very expensive. So if people got air conditioning at all, they just put a window unit in. It would just fit in the window, and it was a little contained little machine all on its own, and it would suck the air from the outside and cool it and blow it into. And they were very nice or noisy. It's kind of like having some of the air conditioners you see in a hotel. It just has, each room kind of had their own unit. Unless you get into newer motels, and hotels don't even have that. They have, where you don't even see that. You just have a vent. But the older hotels, they had their own units inside each room, and that's kind of what we had. So something like this, lemon icebox pie, or lemon refrigerator pie, or it's actually lemon chiffon pie, that is really, really cold when you eat it. Oh, this was a treat. Anything that was really cold, it was so good. Okay, so I'm going to take my lemon chiffon pie. I'm going to put it in the freezer, and we're going to have it for lunch tomorrow after church. If you want to come be a part of my family, you can have some too. I'm sure we have plenty to share. Okay, so everybody have a good night. I hope to see you in church tomorrow, or that you're going to your own church tomorrow. And tomorrow night, I will do my little time where I sing some Christian songs, and I'm probably going to read some things from the Bible and give you my thoughts somewhat about it. And everybody have a good evening. Good night.